Hello guys, I am Dr. Devendra Mishra, working as Assistant Professor in Chemistry at Bidla Institute of Applied Sciences, right? Also running this Tetrahedron Chemistry Classes channel, and here are the links available to approach me. Hello friends, welcome back to the Tetrahedron Chemistry Classes. So guys, it is my ninth lecture on the organometallic compounds, and in today's class I am going to discuss the metal nitrosyls. So in this class I'll discuss the detailed mode of bonding which actually takes place between the nitrosyl ligand and your metals, which forms the organometallic compounds. Okay, so before starting this metal nitrosyl, I want to correct something in my last lecture. So if you remember in the last lecture, that is 8D, I have started the metal carbonyl halides. Okay, and in that case I have given the synthesis of the compounds, and this was my first reaction. And then after uploading the lecture, one of my subscriber noticed that I did a mistake here. I have written this compound as 16 electron species and then forming this halide with 18 electron species. I am sorry for that. This compound is not actually the 16 electron species, it is 18 electron species. Okay, so it is going from 18 electron to 18 electron. So please, if you are watching this particular lecture, then what you can do, you can correct this point in my 8th D lecture. However, I have pinned a comment about this also, and also write about this correction in the description box. Okay, so it is my advice, whenever you are experiencing any say vague explanation or say something wrong, so you can go through my description box or the pinned comment. Generally I actually correct the mistakes in the description box and in the pinned comment. However, in the future I'll try to make no error or very little error. Okay, so please note that. Okay. So guys, right, this is a metal nitrosyl molecular orbital diagram. And why I am giving you this diagram, because it is very important to understand the molecular orbital diagram if you are discussing the bonding mode of the nitrosyls. However, in the molecular orbital theory, I'll explain all these things again. But right now you can consider this is the advanced diagram of metal nitrosyls, where I have considered the sp mixing. Okay, that's why this lines actually are connecting to each other, because I have shown the sp mixing. And if you see here, in that case, nitrogen is having atomic number of 7, so it will have 3 to 5 outermost electron which will take part in the bonding. Okay, and oxygen is having 8, so it will have the 6. So total I am having 6 plus 5, that is 11 electrons I am having. So you can see here 2 electrons of nitrogen in the 2s. Okay, and 3 electrons in the nitrogen atomic orbitals of nitrogen, right, 2p. And I didn't draw the 1s orbital because they are the core electron, there is no need to draw them. Okay, similarly you can see here the 2s orbital containing 2 electron of oxygen, and these are the 4 electrons of the oxygen present in the 2p orbital. And you can see the 2s orbital of oxygen is having lower energy when compared to the nitrogen. Similarly, 2p orbital of oxygen is having lower energy when compared to the atomic or 2p atomic orbital of the nitrogen. And this happens, see, when the electronegativity increases, then actually the orbitals becomes very close and their energy decreases. This is the reason I have drawn these orbitals just actually in the lower side when compared to the nitrogen's orbital. Okay, and then I have made some molecular orbital and I have put it the 11 electrons to it, 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 9 10 11. Okay, so this is actually your anti-bonding molecular orbital, right, which is carrying your 1 electron. So nitrosyl is what, it is your paramagnetic species. Okay, so this is the little description about the metal carbonyls molecular orbital diagram, or simply see nitros not carbonyl nitrosyl molecular orbital diagram. And we will use this diagram again and again to explain the various things. Okay, so guys, now I am going to explain NO bonding modes to metals. Okay, so how many kind of bonding modes are there? So first you can see here I am doing in this manner. So first I am going to discuss the terminal mode. Okay, and then I'll discuss the bridging mode. So these two kinds of the modes are actually possible for NO molecule to bind with the metal. And when you consider the terminal mode, so first you can actually use the linear mode. Okay, linear mode of bonding. So when you consider the linear mode of bonding, in that case you will take NO positive, right? NO positive. And how we will make this NO positive? We will remove one electron from the anti-bonding orbital of this NO molecular orbital, and this will go to the metal, and then you will produce the NO positive, and then it will become the diamagnetic because you will remove electron from here. So this is the linear mode. And what is the meaning of the linear mode? It's quite simple actually. Your metal, and it will form bond with the oxygen, and then the lone pair, sorry, not oxygen, very sorry, this is nitrogen. Okay, and then this nitrogen will donate electron to this one, and this should be your double bond. Okay, so obviously 1 2 3 4 4 bonds are there. That means nitrogen was having actually the positive charge. So this is the linear mode. Okay, and when you are talking about the linear mode, that means hybridization of nitrogen would be sp. This nitrogen hybridization would be sp. And if you're talking about the formal charge is +1 in that case when NO positive is there. And then you can go for the bond angle. I am writing BA for the bond angle, and bond angle actually will have a range. It is 165 to 180 degrees. Generally in your textbook you will find that the bond angle for sp hybridization is 180 degree, but it is not always the case. Actually the bond angle ranges from the 165 degree to 180 degrees. These things you should remember. And another very important aspect, very important aspect, in that case when this linear mode of bonding is happening actually. So in this linear mode, this NO is actually 3 electron donor. Okay, it would be your 3 electron donor, and in that case there would be 2 electron, fine, which will act as the sigma donor, right? That means NO will donate 2 electrons, right? And then after that you will have the pi, strong pi acceptor. This is something very important, right? I am going to explain this one. So please remember this particular fact. When NO is in positive NO positive mode and it is binding in this form, so it will have actually it will donate actually 3 electrons. So I have already told you, in linear mode nitrogen actually NO is 3 electron donor, and in the bent mode it is 1 electron donor. This I have already told you. And when this happens actually, it will act in NO positive mode. It will act as actually a strong pi acceptor. How it will form the strong pi acceptor? You can understand in that manner. Once you remove 1 electron from here, then you will get NO positive, and when the positive charge increases, right, that means the electronegativity of the group increases. So due to the removal of this electron, it will get the positive charge and electronegativity increases. And when the electronegativity increases, this particular orbital 2 pi antibonding, it will decrease in the energy, right? Now it will behave as a low lying antibonding molecular orbital, and in this molecular orbital easily a pair of electron can be donated, right? And then when the electron is donated to this pi antibonding molecular orbital, that means it is accepting electron. So we can call it this NO positive as strong pi acceptor. Obviously when it will be strong pi acceptor, then definitely it will a very poor sigma donor. So it will this NO positive will be your strong poor sigma donor and very strong pi acceptor. Okay, so this explanation you should know. Okay, and then after that you can see I can go for another mode, say bent mode of bonding. Number 2, bent mode of bonding. When you are using the bent mode, that means in that case NO negative is there, right? And when you are actually doing this bent mode, so what is the meaning of that? This is metal forming bond with the nitrogen, and you will have your double bond oxygen in that manner. Okay, and obviously in that case you can see a lone pair would always be there on the nitrogen atom, right? And when this happens, actually then this lone pair and bond pair will repel each other, and consequently they will try to actually place themselves as far apart as possible. Okay, so that's why actually it goes to the bend structure due to this lone pair. You can apply the Vesper theory to explain all these things. Okay, and when you are discussing the bent mode, it simply means that in that case, hybridization, if you take the sp2 hybridization of the nitrogen would be there. Okay, and in that case you can see formal charge, since you are using NO negative, formal charge would be -1. There is no problem in that. Okay, and when you are talking about the bond angle, so it would be 120 degree. But remember, it is not always 120 degree. It will again have the range. It may have 90 degree, 86 degree, and it may have the 110 degree, depending upon the different types of the compounds. You should know, right? And when it is in bent mode, it would be 1 electron donor. It would be 1 electron donor. As I have already told you, in case of the linear mode, it will be your 3 electron donor. Okay, now another aspect you can see, overall actually you will see it's a 2, it will form the 2 electrons, it will act as a 2 electron sigma donor, but out of this two electrons, 1 electron actually comes from the metal itself. So overall donation would be 1, but you can understand in that manner, whenever you are forming the sigma bond, you will require a pair of electron. That's why I have written a pair of electron. Okay, and since it is NO negative, so what is the meaning of the NO negative? It will get the 1 electron from the metal to in this particular orbital in the NO negative form. Okay, that means the negative charge increases. When negative charge increases, the electronegativity decreases, and when electronegativity decreases, the energy of these orbital actually will go higher, and when they will have the higher energy orbital, it cannot accept the electron from anywhere, and also when they are having the 2 electrons, then it will be difficult to accommodate another 2 electrons, right, as they have the higher energy due to the decreased electronegativity of NO negative. Okay, that means they will behave very weak pi acceptor. They will behave as very weak pi acceptor. Okay, when pi acceptance nature is weak, obviously this 2 electron sigma donor would be strong. So first of all, you should know these things. Okay, so they are very these things are very important to understand, and you may have the question in your NET or the GATE examination from this particular topic. Actually, one of my subscriber has asked me how much we will study for organometallic compound. So I suggested him that once you go through all the lecture which I am actually going to make, or which I have generally made, which I have already made in the organometallic series. After that, you can solve the problems for the various examination, and then you decide which actually part to be focused and which not to be focused. So these are the two modes in the terminal mode. Okay, terminal method. When the bridging mode is there, so nitrogen can form mu2 NO linkages as well as mu3 NO linkages. So I'll discuss these bridging mode later on. So I hope this is clear to you. I'm going to explain the different things. And first of all, you can see here, we should have some conditions actually, right? So here I am writing the conditions. Conditions for the linear MNO linkage. So this part is very important, and by using a little trick you can identify whether the mode of the linkage of NO in the particular complex would be linear or the bent. So I am giving you the 1 or 2 examples here. So for example, I am having this particular complex, very important, say chromium CN5 and NO is written here. Just you are having this particular complex, and obviously the 3 negative is there. Say if you have given this particular complex and the question asked in this manner, then they will ask the question. They can ask the question in this manner: what is the oxidation state of the chromium in this complex, or what is the mode of the NO to bind this chromium metal, whether it is linear or whether it is bent. So for this you can actually focus on this particular ligand, and you can see this cyanide actually, right? This CN ligand, they are actually pi acidic. They are pi acidic ligand, and I have explained why they behave as a pi acidic ligand in my see, not actually, I have not given the explanation why they behave the pi acidic, but I have given you the series where I have explained which ligands are the pi acidic and which are the sigma donor, all these things. So from those lectures of coordination chemistry, we can say that the cyanide is actually pi acidic. And when you are having these pi acidic ligands along with the NO ligand, then straight away you can call this actually NO is in the linear mode of bonding. It is in the linear mode of bonding, and you know when it is in the linear mode of bonding, so you can straight away put a positive over there. Okay, and when you put the positive over there, if you calculate the oxidation state of the chromium, so it would be +1. Okay, so you focus only on this ligands actually, other than the ligands which are present other than NO. If they are the pi acidic, then the bonding mode of NO in the complex would be the linear. Okay, this is the very important trick. However, in the textbook it is also written there, early transition metal, right? This chromium is what? It is early transition metal. Okay, and when you have the early transition metal in lower oxidation state, then also your NO would be in the linear mode of bonding, right? But this early transition metal and lower oxidation state actually becomes less important when you compare this fact with the pi acidic or the sigma donor nature of the other ligands. Okay, and similarly you can go for another type of the complex. Say you are having this complex Fe CN5 NO. Say you are having this complex. Okay, and you can put 2 negative over there. Again, this is what? Pi acidic. So when the ligands are pi acidic, then the mode of the bonding would be linear. So NO positive you can write over there, and when you put the NO positive here, then you will have the positive charge over there. So first of all, you can see here it is having say +1 electron, and sorry, +1 oxidation state, it is having +2 oxidation state. So generally when you have the early transition metals, right, so they are actually the electron poor. So first condition you can write here, electron poor early transition metal, right, in reducible oxidation state. In reducible oxidation state. Okay, when this happens actually, so what is the meaning of the reducible oxidation state? Sorry, reducible oxidation state means they can easily reduced, right? You can reduce this +1 to the 0, you can reduce this +2 to the 0, but again you can see if +3 is Fe +3 is there, then again you can see you can reduce to the +2 and the +1, and if +2 is there, chromium +2, then you can again reduce to the +1 and say you are the 0. So that's why it is little actually tricky when it comes to the nature of the metal. So that's why I have already told you, you can focus only on the ligand. This will give you the better picture when compared to this particular fact. Okay, and then number 2, presence of the pi acidic ligands. Presence of the pi acidic ligands. Okay, when this actually happens, then you can very easily tell whether the mode would be your linear or the bent. In that case, in both the cases, it would be linear. So you know it's a very famous ion. It is nitroprusside ion, and it is having the very important analytical properties and analytical uses. Okay, now I am going to discuss how actually the bonding will occur, concept of the bonding. So I am going to take here concept of bonding, how actually in the linear form it will give the 3 electron, and all these things I am going to explain. Okay, and you know when you have the NO positive, right? So they will have how many electrons? 14 electrons. Okay, and if you have the CO, they will also have the 14 electron. 8 plus 6, 14, and then 8 plus 7, 15, plus charge is there, -1, that means the 14 electron. So these two are the isoelectronic species. Okay, this is very important. And now I am going to discuss how actually the bonding will occur in these cases. This is very, very important, which you should know actually. Fine. So guys, in that case, you can see step number 1. In the first step, what will happen? So you will have your metal, and this metal will have, say, this electron which is present in the d orbital. Okay, and then you are having N, double bond oxygen, and again it will have 1 electron, and obviously a lone pair would be there. So this is the first condition, and I hope you know from where actually I have put it this odd electron. I have put it this odd electron which is present in the anti-bonding 2pi anti-bonding orbital. So this is the electron which I am showing here, and these are the non-bonding electron 3 and B I have written for this one, and these are these electrons, and rest is the bonding part. Okay, so in that case you can see this is metal pi orbital, metal pi orbital. Okay, and this odd electron was present in the pi anti-bending molecular orbital of NO. So in the first case it will donate the electron from here to here. Okay, so this is your half-headed arrow, and you know the half-headed curly arrow shows the movement of the 1 electron only. So in that case what it will result? It will result in M negative. Now it is having the pair of electron. Okay, and then your nitrogen, double bond oxygen, and these were the lone pair, and then this is your empty pi anti-bonding molecular orbital. Okay, because I have given the positive charge to it, so this is empty pi bonding molecular orbital, and see, this is negative, this is positive. Okay, and that means there is electrostatic interaction between them. So you can write electrostatic interactions, electrostatic interaction. In that manner you can write. Okay, so this is the step number 1, and then see, first of all you can think in that manner also. I missed this particular point here. See, you can have your metal, and these metal may be odd electron donor, right? And metal can also be even electron donor. Okay, so in that case you can see if you have cobalt, manganese, vanadium, so it is having say 9, okay, it is having 7, and it is having 5. So these are the electrons present in them, so they are the odd electron donor. So if you have the chromium, and if you have the iron, okay, and you know the in case of the chromium it is 24, iron is 26, so they are the even electron donor. So when I am putting M here and I'm showing only 1 electron, that means I am focusing on these metals. This is important. And then there comes the step number 2. So in the step number 2, what can happen actually? You can see this was my metal, and now this metal is negatively charged in that case. Okay, and and this would be your, see, I have made I have put it one electron here, so now it is forming the bond. Now it will also have the empty d orbital, so this would be your empty d orbital, so you can forget about this negative charge, it is already there. And then you are having nitrogen, double bond oxygen, and of course positive charge I have shown, negative we can put here, positive charge I have already shown here. And in that case you can see this lone pair is there. Okay, now what can happen if you see, so this is your, say, empty d orbital of the metal, and this is actually your non-bonding electron pair. And see, generally textbook writes that this non-bonding electron pair is having actually very weak anti-bonding interactions also. Okay, this is important to note that this non-bonding is also having the very weak anti-bonding kind of the interaction. So what can happen, this electron pair can be donated in this metal orbital. Okay, and when this happens, so you will have this metal filled with the electron pair. Okay, and this is the sigma bond actually which have formed by this transfer, and this is your nitrogen, double bond oxygen, and now it will have this empty orbital. So this empty orbital which I have shown here actually is this one, because I have removed one electron from here to here in the first step. You can see in the first step I have removed. Okay, so this positive charge is like just like that, and this is the filled. So this is actually the sigma interaction. Okay, and another interaction that would form, that would be the pi kind of the interaction. So in that case, how many electrons we are using for the donation from NO? First actually I have used this one electron, and then I have used a pair of electrons. So overall 1 plus 2 equals to 3. So in the linear mode it is a 3 electron donor species, and this NO positive would be a very good pi acceptor due to the presence of the empty pi anti-bonding molecular orbital. So this was the case of your linear mode of bonding. And then you can see after that how we can form the pi bond. So you can go for the step 3. Okay, in the step 3 back donation would occur. In the step 3 back donation means metal, this electron pair will be back donated to the NO in the empty of the NO. So in the next step the electron pair which is present here, okay, would be back donated to this one. So this is what back bonding. So this is sigma, this is pi, back bonding, right? And this is actually happens in that case. So this is the overall picture of your linear mode of bonding. I hope there is no doubt, right? And then I can go for the another mode. What I can write, bent mode of bonding. Bent mode. So if you are going, if you are considering the bent linkage or the bent kind of the bonding, so what you can do, guys, again I can give you the 1 or 2 examples for this one. Say you are having this, you can write here CONH3 5 and NO. See, you are having this compound and 2 positives over there. Okay, so what you can do, trick is that you can focus on this ligand which is other than their NO ligand. This is strong sigma donor. So guys, why this cyanide is pi acceptor and why this ammonia is actually sigma donor, I'll explain all these things when I'll make the lecture series on the molecular orbital diagrams of the polyatomic molecules. I will explain there, but time being you can note down in that manner. This is the strong sigma donor. When the strong sigma donor are there, that means it would be in the bent mode. This would be in the bent mode, and when it is I'm sorry. when it is in the bent mode, that means NO negative is there. Okay, and when NO negative is there, you can easily call it it is in +3 oxidation state. Okay, you can write in that manner. So strong sigma donor, and again you can see here in that case, this cobalt is actually the late transition metal, and late transition metal, and which could be actually very easily say oxidize, right? See, I have shown +3 because I know now it is in bent due to the presence of strong sigma donor. But suppose you don't know how you don't know how to decide, then in that case you will not have any charge over there, so you will have the +2 charge. It can be very easily oxidized. But this trick of metal is not very good. But you can focus on the this sigma donor. When it is the sigma donor, then bent mode of bonding would be there. Okay, and so what are the conditions actually required? So in that case, electron rich metal would be there. Electron rich. So what is the meaning of the electron rich metal? That means d orbitals having the higher number of the electrons, and generally they are the late transition metals. So in case of the late transition metal, this happens, but this trick is not very good. The important thing is what this one, presence of strong sigma donor ligands. When you are having the strong sigma donor ligand, then definitely the this NO will actually link with the metal through the your actually bent mode. And when it is the NO negative, that means it cannot accept the electron very easily, so it would be the weak pi acceptor. Definitely it will be a weak pi acceptor, because nitrogen will not have the low lying molecular orbital, because due to this negative charge, I have already told you, when negative charge is there, I am again going to explain this one. When you put the negative charge, then the electronegativity decreases. Electronegativity decreases, so this orbital will go in higher in the energy orbital, and higher energy orbital cannot actually accept the electrons. That's why NO negative is not a pi acceptor, it's a good sigma donor. Okay, so this was the picture actually. Now I'm going to explain another very important thing, say bonding mode in the bent form. Okay, so how you can write in the bent form? Say you are having the metal, and this metal is having say 1 electron over there, and then you are having nitrogen, double bond oxygen, and of course 1 electron in the pi antibonding molecular orbital, and this is the lone pair over there. So in the first case, what will happen? This will donate electron from here to here. So this is the opposite manner. See, in the case of the linear mode, what I have shown you, the electron would be donated from the pi antibonding molecular orbital to the metals orbital, pi orbital of the metal. Okay, but in that case, the metal is giving electron to this one. Okay, so this is pi antibonding molecular orbital of NO, pi antibonding MO. And in that case, metal in the low oxidation state. See, when metal actually will be in the low oxidation state, so it can easily actually transfer 1 electron, right? When this happens, then you will have what? Metal with positive center, and nitrogen will negative, because 1 electron is there, 1 electron is coming here, negative, and this is double bond oxygen, and of course this is the lone pair. So this is again, you can see the electrostatic interaction. Electrostatic interaction. Okay, in that case, right? Now you can see this negative charge. Now these are the 2 electrons. These 2 electrons can be donated to the metal, right? But out of these 2 electrons, one actually came from the metal itself. So you see, this is the 2 electron donor, but out of these 2, one belongs to the metal itself. So overall donation is of only 1 electron. Okay, that's why it is 1 electron donor only. This is something very important. Electrostatic interaction I have shown you, and then you can go for another say second step. What is going to happen in the second step? Say this was the step number 2, step number 1. This is step number 2. Now this we will form the sigma bond. You will have the metal, and this metal will have the empty or vacant d orbital, and in that case nitrogen double bond oxygen and a lone pair is there, and of course a negative charge. That means a pair of electron. This pair of electron actually will be donated to the vacant metal d orbital, and when this happens, this metal will form a sigma bond. So this is the sigma bond because one electron pair has shifted from here to here, but out of this pair, one pair already belongs to the metal itself, so it's a overall one electron donation, and this lone pair actually is already present here. It is not going anywhere, so it will actually repel the bond pairs and it will result in the bonding mode. This is something very important. But in the earlier case, this was empty, and when this orbital is empty, so there is no actually repulsion between the bond pair and the lone pair. That's why it was linear. And in that case, this lone pair is already there, so which will repel this bond pair and it will result in the bent geometry. So this is how you can form the sigma bond. So overall donation is what? Overall donation is of only one electron. Right? This is something very important. So these are the few important things which you should know. Okay. And say one more example you can take, say, because the example is very important. Say I'm giving you the two examples in that case. Say for example, you are having IR, CO, Cl, PPH3 whole twice. Say you are having this one. So I hope you know this particular complex. This is Vasquez complex. This is Vasquez complex. In the last lecture I have also discussed this one. Okay, so this is your first example, and then you are having Ru, Cl, NO whole twice, P, PH3 whole twice, and a positive over there. Say you have given these two species, and it's very important. Why this is important? Because these two are isoelectronic species, right? These two are isoelectronic species. So what is the meaning of the isoelectronic species? Say in that, say first of all, I am going to discuss this particular example. Focus here, guys. This is very important problem, and you may have the question from this. In that case, you know, in the Vasquez complex, it is in +1 oxidation state. Okay, and in the +1 oxidation state, this iridium is actually what? D8 system, right? This is the D8 system. This is very important. And when it this iridium +1 is very prone to oxidation. So you can oxidize this IR +1 very easily. And if you don't know, in the Vasquez complex, iridium in the +1 oxidation state is very prone to oxidation, and it will very readily oxidize. First thing which you should know. Say I am treating this compound with the nitrosyl, NO positive, PF6 negative. So guys, you can take why you are putting this NO positive, by why you are taking this reagent to react the Vasquez complex, right, to form the nitrosyls, because you cannot use actually nitrosyl in the excess. See, in case of the carbonyl complexes, you can you can give the environment of the excess carbon monoxide. But this you cannot give the excess NO environment, because it is a very strong oxidizing agent. It will oxidize the complex and it may also decompose the complex. So you cannot use actually direct NO, but you can take some sources of the NO. That's why I have taken this particular one. So now what will happen? Then you will have another complex, say IR, CO, Cl was already there, and then you have introduced the NO group here, and then you are having PPH3 whole twice, and of course a positive charge over there. I have written in that manner because you have introduced NO positive, so you have to put positive over here, right? Now if you see here, it is in +3 oxidation state. Iridium is in +3 oxidation state. You can count the electrons. I'm not going to explain these basic things again and again. And in that case, it is your D6 system. These two things you should remember. And the important thing is what? This Vasquez complex, you know, it is square planar. Square planar. 1 2 3 4 4 coordination number is there. In that case coordination number is 5, so it is this complex is square pyramidal. These things you should know. Okay, now you have to decide whether this NO is in actually bent mode or it is in your linear mode. So what you can do, you can focus on this PPH3. So this PPH3 is what? It's a very good sigma donor, very strong sigma donor. Triphenyl phosphine is very strong sigma donor. When it is in a strong sigma donor, and I have already told you, that mean this NO would be in the bent kind of the bonding. So this is how you can decide whether the NO would be bent or the linear. So because it is the strong sigma donor, right, then obviously it is a bent mode. It will present in the bent mode. Okay, this is something very, very important which you should remember. Okay, and then you can go for this particular complex, right? So in that case you can see here 2 of the NO are there. So this is a very, very special complex. Why special? Because one NO is present in the linear form and another NO is present in the bent form. Okay, so this is something very, very important which you should know actually. So both the kind of the linkage are present in the same complex. So again I have told you it's a D6 system. Okay, it was a D6 system. So ruthenium in that case, it is in +2 oxidation state. It is also a D6 system. So this complex and this complex, not these two actually, this and this, they are in the they are isoelectronic species. Okay, and then you can go for the why it is very important why this complex is forming is giving the 2 kind of the linkages. And this complex is giving only the band kind of the linkage. Why not the linear kind of the linkage present in that case? So see carefully. Say this iridium you can take. See, cobalt was there and in the series, okay, and rhodium and then iridium. So this is the cobalt group, right? And I have given you the trick, Komal Radha Ka Irada, and you can go for that trick in the tetrahedron chemistry classes lecture series. So if you see here, this iridium is the last member. So when it is the last member, this iridium is heavy, right? And due to the heavy, and it is also having the +3 charge. So it is heavy, it is having the heavy nucleus, and also it is having the +3 charge. Okay, so when this +3 charge is there, so this will not prefer actually any, and electronegativity is also very, very high due to this positive +3 charge. Due to this +3 charge over there, the electronegativity is very, very high. That means the electron back donation cannot occur to this one. And when the back donation is not there, obviously the bent form would be there, right? I have already told you, if you see here, in that case this back donation is happening. In that case back donation is happening, but due to the +3 charge over there, the electrons actually, it will not allow their electron to back donate to the ligand. Okay, that's why the back bonding is not there. In that case, metal to ligand back bonding will not be possible, right? And when back bonding is not possible, obviously it will not form your linear form. It will form, it will give you the bent structure, because you can see here in the linear form, I have already told you the step number 3, in the linear form back donation was happening, right? But this high charge will not allow. That's why it is bent in nature. Now if you see this particular complex, so what you can do, say your Fe, Ru, OS. So this is ferrous, right? This is the iron series, and this is not the last member. This Ru is not the last member. It is the second member, right? And this iridium was actually the last member. So it is not very, very heavy, and its electronegativity is not very, very high. Okay, and when the electronegativity is not very, very high, and you can see the charge is +2 over there, and charge is also not very, very high, so it will allow some extent of the back donation, pi back donation to the NO. So it can form the linear mode, and as well as it can form the bent mode due to the presence of this ligand actually. So this is something very, very important. This ruthenium is not very, very much electronegative, okay, and charge is also +2. This will allow little of some kind of the pi back donation, and this pi back donation will probably allow the formation of the linear and the bent geometry. So this is very, very important, okay. And after that, see, you can see another very important aspect of this complex which I am going to discuss here. Say what we can explain. Okay, I am explaining the fluxional behavior. Fluxional behavior, very important. See this in my last 2 or 3 lectures of organometallic series, this lecture is very, very important, and we are discussing the fluxional behavior of this complex. RuCl NO whole twice, one bent, one linear, and triphenyl phosphine, a very strong sigma donor, right, in that case. So how you can draw the structure? Say in the center I am having the ruthenium, and here I can put my PPH3, they are trans, so I can put PPH3 here, bonding through with phosphorus, not with phenyl, okay. And then you are having, say, NO, so it's a bent mode of bonding, and then I can put NO, so it's a linear mode of bonding, and this is Cl, right, and of course positive charges over there. So this is the case. So this is the bent mode, so bond angle would be, in that case experimentally it is find that it is 138 degrees. It's a linear mode, it is 178 degrees. So I already told you, when you have the linear mode of the bonding, it doesn't mean the bond angle would exactly 180 degree. It is having the range 165 degree to 180 degree, so it is 178 degree. Similarly, it's a bent mode, it should be 120 degree, but you can see here it is experimentally it is found that it is 138 degree. So what is the meaning of the say fluxional behavior? See, this is bent, this is linear, okay, and nitrogen NMR, nitrogen and 15 NMR. This proves that this actually becomes linear, right, and this becomes bent. So they fluctuate actually. When they fluctuate actually, that means the fluxional behavior is there. Both linear and the bent groups can undergo exchange in the solution. If you put into the solution, so they will exchange, right? This bent and the linear, they will exchange. So this linear become bent and bent become linear, and this has been proved by the nitrogen NMR spectroscopy, okay. And which one is another proof you can take, say if you have ruthenium nitrogen bond length, so it is having 2 bond length. First is one nearly approximately 174 picometer, and then you are having the second bond length which has been found 186 picometer. So it's a, see, whenever the bond length is very, very high bond length is there, so it shows the bent bonding. And when it is in linear mode, when the bond length is low, right, then it would be a linear. So you can argue how we can actually predict this lower bond length actually explaining the linear. Remember, in case of the linear mode of bonding, you are having the pi back donation. You can see here, this is the linear mode, you are having the pi back donation. So double bond is there, right, and that double bond actually will bond order, when bond order, see, you can see bond order is inversely proportional to the bond length generally. So when this actually bond order increases, it goes from 2 actually, so bond length decreases because due to the pi bond. So that's why when you have the lower bond length, you can say it's a linear mode of the bonding. and when you are having the higher bond length, then you are having the then you have your bent mode. So this is something very important which you should know, very important, right? So from here, what you can conclude in that case. See, whatever I have explained to you, I can conclude this. Nitrosin, see, if you are having the nitrosyl complex, you may have the NO positive and you may have the NO negative bonding. These are the two limiting situations, NO positive and NO negative. These are the two limiting situations in the different complex. And depending upon the conditions, NO positive, that means linear mode, or NO negative, that means the bent mode can occur, right? Then what is the meaning of that? This nitrosyl ligand is polarizable. It is polarizable because from NO it is going to NO positive and it is also going to the NO negative. So these are the two limiting one, and the intermediate situation you can consider this NO. Okay, so in that case you can see this NO actually polarizable, and when this is polarizable, it can accommodate the electron pair from the nucleophile, and it can go from the linear to bent. How? You can see this was the case, say for example, okay. And when you have the nucleophile, lone pair of electron, so these lone pair of electron will go to this metal, and this bond will come here as lone pair. It's an 18 electron system. You are considering the 18 electron system, and then you are having your nucleophile connected with the metal N. Because lone pairs are there, so now it will repel and it will become bent. So it is fluctuating from the linear to the bent. So this we can conclude that two limiting situations are the NO positive and NO negative, and NO is the intermediate in between them, and we, in presence of the better nucleophile, we can convert this linear form of bonding to the bent form of the bonding. So this is all about your two important modes of the bonding. And lastly, you can see the bridging mode. And see, there is not much to explain in the bridging mode, but you can take some examples here. Say which examples I can take. Okay, say you are, see, first of all I should write bridging mode. Bridging mode, okay. So chromium is there and another chromium is there, and say my complex NH2 is there, and I am connecting these two, and then my NO is there, okay, and you can see here it is connecting in that manner, and again I am having NO here, and then my eta 5 CP, cyclopentadienyl anion, okay. Similarly, in that case you can put my NO linear, okay, and then I am having my eta 5 CP in that case. So you can see here, so this is the linear mode, this is the linear mode, so definitely there should be corresponding bond angle, and experimentally it is found that this bond angle is nearly 175 degrees centigrade, so 175 degrees, sorry, okay. And similarly for this one also 175 and 175. This is, you know, the bent kind of the bonding. This is this one, this is this one, that means the bent bonding is there. So when it is bent in nature, so this bond angle should be somewhere around 120 degree, but I have already told you it is not possible to have the exact 120 degree, so it is 86 degrees, okay. So, and in that case you can see here this NO is bridging through this chromium as well as this 3 chromium. So this mode actually is what? mu2 NO. This is mu2. See, this is mu1, this is also mu1, this is mu2, okay. And then you may have another complex mu3 kind of the bonding. So for this, in the center you can put NO group in that manner, right? This is NO, and since you are showing mu3 kind of the linkage, so for mu3 linkage what you can do, you can connect with this manganese here, this nitrogen, and again you can connect with this manganese, and you can add one another manganese here. Okay, and of course this would be the bond, right? And these two are connecting, in that manner. Okay, so this is actually what? Mu3NO. However, the complex is not complete yet. This is NO, this is no. So it's a mu2, mu3, and this is the mu2. And then what you can do, put one NO here, connect them, put one NO here, you can connect them, okay. And here you can see eta 5 CP with this, and here also eta 5 CP, and here also eta 5 CP, right? So in that case you can see this is mu3NO, 1 2 3, and it is connecting to 1 and 2. This is mu2, this is connecting to mu2, and this is connecting to mu2. So this is these are the bridging mode of the bonding. Okay, so this is all about the mode of NO bonding, right? Terminal, in the terminal you were having the two cases, linear and the band, and then the bridging. I have explained all the things in the detail. Okay guys, and I have given you this example, the fluxonial nature. For this I have given you the fluxonial nature, but remember this is not the only example where you can actually have this fluxonial behavior. You may have the other you may have another complexes, like say one more important example, OS NO whole twice, one linear one band, and OH is here, and then PPH3 whole twice. Okay, this is how you can write. And of course you can put positive. So one NO is linear, one NO is bent. Okay guys, so this is all about the bonding. In the next class I'll continue the spectral properties of the nitrocells. How actually the IR spectroscopy is useful, I'll discuss in the next lecture. Okay, thank you very much.